This is Bob, and Bob loves roof camping. In fact, his favorite thing to do is to shoot at his neighbor's auto turret. You see, at this range, an auto turret cannot fire back. So a couple of pot shots later, and Bob gets himself a free AK. Yoink! Not too shabby.
Oh my god!
One day Bob noticed something different though. The door now had one of those weird sensor heartbeat things. Bob wanted to investigate, so he ran over and naturally got sprayed down by a hail of bullets. This made Bob angry, but not to worry, because Bob had a plan. See, Bob planned to walk over naked. The sensor would see him, the doors would open and the turret would kill him. In fact, he would die several times. However, eventually the turret would run out of ammo. Bob would then return with his rock, beat the turret broken, dab on its ashes, and like an alpha god king, score a free AK. So Bob went ham and went to go place down a ton of sleeping bags and instantly went to work. He died several times, until the turret of course ran out of ammo. But hang on, what's this? The door's closed? Bob clearly heard the ammo run out, and then it dawns on Bob. This is no ordinary turret. This is a smart turret, and he cannot break it. This little turret will not hear the word raid ever again. Unless of course the little turret goes over to the Google Play Store, types the word raid into the search bar and clicks on Raid Shadow Legend, the sponsor of today's video. Are you bored of playing silly little mobile games that look like cartoons? Enter Raid Shadow Legends, a turn-based fantasy RPG game filled to the brim with dark, sexy visuals, insane graphics you'd expect from a PC game, except it's on mobile and it's free. In fact, the graphics are so good they just released the PC version and they threw in crossplay so that you can destroy all your mates regardless of what they're playing on. Collect heroes, level them up while taking on a fully voiced campaign mode, join dungeons to fight bosses and win artifacts that make your champions stronger. Take those now beefier champions to the arena for PvP battles against other human players, and when you've dominated them, make friends with them and head over to clan bosses and fight new enemies alongside your weaker teammates, because remember, you're the alpha hero in your squad. Sacrifice your weaker champions to strengthen your already existing and more desirable champions. There's even a free daily rewards program for new players. Raid has doubled it now from 90 to 180 days. That's a staggering half a year of free daily rewards. I'm talking energy refills, silver, gems, shards, and even a free barbarian legendary champion, Sile of the Drakes. Keep in mind that your free daily rewards can be found right over here. If you want to play alongside me, be sure to add me. My nick is misterflak and I've officially made Raid my new mobile game of choice. Goodbye sheep game. Go to the video description, click on the special misterflak links provided, and if you are a new player you will get 100,000 free silver, 50 gems, an energy refill, and this bonkers free champion adjudicator. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get to the video. To build one of these smart turrets, you're going to require a standard auto turret, 2 branches, and a standard switch on-off, one of those weird heartbeat sensor things that look like a microphone, a standard blocker, a power source of some kind, and a double door. I would highly recommend using the armored double door, which can be found in any locked crate. So the point of the smart auto turret is fairly simple. We need to have an auto turret that stays safe and only opens up when an enemy is within range, opens for the enemy, shoots them down. It needs to close when they're not in range, and it also needs to close and protect the turret once the turret is out of ammo. Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's pretend that this is our theoretical base. It's a small little 2x1-ish type of thing. I've got a triple airlock going over here. On the right hand side here, I have a small little slot where I can access my auto turret, fill up the ammo, repair it, that type of thing. Over here I have a standard power system. Obviously for the purposes of the demonstration, I've put down one of these infinite generator things. However, picture this to be a large battery, a windmill, something like that. But the point of this example is I want to show you how to add the smart turret to an already existing power system. And to do that, I'm going to be using a branch. So what I do is I place a branch between a power source and your first appliance of some sort. Obviously, as you guys know, branches work like this. We have 100 electricity. It's going to go into the branch, and then the branch outputs to 2 locations. On the right hand side, I'm going to branch out back to my lights, which means it's already existing. So I've got 100 here. It comes in as 100, as you can see there. It says configure. If I push E on this device, it will let me configure a number of say 5 or 10 or 15 or whatever number I choose. And what it does is it outputs that electricity to the left-hand output of the branch. Whatever's left over gets output on the right-hand side of that branch. Once we branch off, I'm going to branch it off to a standard switch so we can turn everything on and off. I'll output from the left-hand side of the branch and I will feed the electricity into the input side of the electrical switch. I will branch off a total of 16 rust watts. We need 16 rust watts per smart turret to make it work. Then on the output side of the switch, I'm going to wire it up to a standard branch, and then from the branch, I'm going to wire up a blocker. From the output of the switch to the input of the branch. Then from the right-hand output of the branch, we're going to send it to the input side of the blocker. From the output side of the blocker, we are going to wire it to the heartbeat sensor. But before we do that, let's set up the front turret and the door. Here we place down the double door and we make sure the double door opens into our base and not out of our base. We place down the turret facing us, put the door controller as close to the door as possible and push E on it. Once you push E on it, it pairs with the door. We have to lock up the door. We also can place down a heartbeat sensor and we are good to go. And now from the output side of that blocker, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to wire up to the heartbeat sensor. If this is a bit confusing, just hang around. I'm going to do a more simplified version afterwards so that everybody can understand, even if you don't really get electricity. Then we're going to wire up that heartbeat sensor and we're going to output from the heartbeat sensor to our door controller. That is perfect. Now by default, heartbeat sensors always automatically pick up the person that owns the base, the person with building privilege. I'm going to turn on the heartbeat sensor and you'll notice by default that door opens for me. If I hide around the corner here, you'll hear it closing. That is because the heartbeat sensor by default opens up to whoever has building privilege. If I was to take out my hammer, for example, and push E on it to exclude authorized, aka me, the door will close. Because this door is now only set to open up for people that don't have building privilege. Does that make sense? Hey, make it. So, like I said, the door is set up to open up for people that aren't authorized. So if I spawn in a random enemy, you'll see the door opens. And when the random enemy is no longer there, the door closes. Okay, let me turn off this whole circuit quickly. Okay, on my second branch, we're going to branch out 11 electricity. These numbers are very important. Let me show you why. On that first branch, I set out 16 to branch out. The first switch uses 1 electricity, so it outputs 15 to the second branch. Second branch receives 15, uses 1, and I've now set that left-hand side to output 11, which means the right-hand side will have 3 electricity left. From that left-hand side, I'm going to branch it out straight to the turret. And that is done. Now on the left-hand side of the turret, there's 3 outputs circuitry, and that's where all the magic happens. Let me turn off the circuit and I'll show you exactly what I mean. We have no ammo, low ammo, and has target. Has target outputs electricity when the turret scans something. So as soon as it locks onto somebody, it outputs electricity here. If the ammo is running low, or if there's no ammo in the turret, it outputs electricity to these points. And we're going to be using no ammo. And this is why. We hook up the no ammo all the way to the blocker itself. Now, I don't know if you guys know how blocker works. A lot of people don't, but let me explain the theory of it. As soon as the turret runs out of ammo, it will send electricity to the blocker side of the blocker. And once a blocker, as you know, receives electricity, it stops all electricity from coming out the outputs. And the devices connected to the output side of the blocker is a heartbeat sensor and a door controller, which means the door controller and the sensor outside won't work when there's no ammo inside. Now let's test the theory out. I'm going to load up a gun, put in some ammo, and this is how it works. You'll see the door doesn't open for me because I have building privilege. If I spawn in an enemy now, the door will open for them, the turret will target them, and they will be dead. Once the target is no longer there, the heartbeat sensor doesn't need to open the door anymore. This will continue the process over and over and over until that turret runs out of ammo completely. This might take a while, but let's see how it goes. You can see opens, closes, perfectly fine until it runs out of ammo. There we go. It's out of ammo. I've spawned in another guy and nothing. So now that turret's safe. You can't go there, you can't break that turret and get a free gun. That's because the electricity coming out of that no ammo output is now blocking your blocker, and everything attached to that blocker is now disabled, aka your heartbeat sensor and your door controller. I can spawn in as many enemies as I want to, nothing will happen because that heartbeat sensor and door controller is no longer functional. I'll put the circuit off, and now you'll see the reason why I have this slot, so that you can refill your turret easily. I'm going to put it back on, and voila! There we go, out of ammo. Now, like I said earlier, it's going to be a bit complicated for people that don't understand electricity. So if you fully understood what I just built, now's the time to click away. However, if you didn't really understand it, let me show you the real way on how we can get this working in the simplest way possible. Well, I've got an existing power circuit on the right there, and I've got a very flat wall emulating what a base would look like. If you look behind my turret, that's the inside of my base, that's the outside of my base. This is just to make it nice and simple. I've got a door opening into my base, like I mentioned before. I've got a turret chilling there. Everything's ready to go. Let me show you how the wiring works. So we'll need the door controller. We'll need the heartbeat sensor facing outside our base, if you know what I mean. We've got a switch that's required. We also have a second branch that's required, a blocker, and we are good to go. So we've got our first branch that we configure to 16, the magic number, don't forget. We are going to output the left-hand side to our switch. From our electrical switch, we're going to feed the second branch. Then from the right-hand side of our second branch to a blocker. And from the top of our blocker, we're going to wire up the heartbeat sensor. The heartbeat sensor will then output to a door controller. And that part is done. There we go. We have to turn on the circuit, and we also have to exclude people that are authorized. You'll see that the door doesn't immediately open for me. That's because the door controller hasn't been paired to that lock yet. So now I've excluded anyone that has building privilege. I'm going to push E on it. You'll see that first unlock. You'll see as soon as I pair it, it shows a little green light. There we go. It's paired. Be sure to relock that door. And now the door controller will open up for non-privileged people. Okay. Now on the second branch, we branch out a full 11 electricity, and we need to send that left hand 11 electricity straight to our turret. There we go, input side over there. Then on the left hand side, as discussed before, from the no ammo side, we need to hook up no ammo and wire it straight to our blocker. Bearing in mind that has to be 11, that has to be 16, and our circuit is now complete. I'm just going to put in, okay, we got guns, we got bullets, that's perfect. Close that door. Let's turn the circuit on quickly. And you are 100% ready to go. Now, as you can see, the entire layout is a lot more simple than the previous example. It shows somebody that doesn't really grasp electricity very well exactly how it works. Now, let me spawn in an enemy, and we'll show you that it's fully effective. Bearing in mind, the first time you put this trap on, it will take a few seconds to register because the gun has to reload. So try and reload the gun before you put it into the auto turret. I'm going to open it down, just take out some more bullets so you can see it fully run out of bullets. Perfecto. Turn this bad boy on. You can hear it starting up nicely. Spawn in another enemy. You've got to hear the sound. You can actually listen for the sound when it runs out of ammo. Turret will remain close and safe, and you will no longer lose your turrets and your AKs. And I wish you thousands of hours of carefree, grief-free, raid-free base ownership in the world that is Rust. Thank you so much for watching this slightly complicated build on how to make your own smart turret. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to click that thumbs up button. It will definitely help me, and a big special shout out to my darling Patreons who have kept me going post-corona times. Things are scary in the world of content creation, but those guys that you can see on screen now are absolutely staggering, keeping me going, keeping me running. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting Mr. Flak. If you would like to join the Patreon squad, follow my sexy Twitter, join the world's coolest Discord, follow me on that purple streaming service, or stalk my slightly barren Instagram account, please be sure to click on all of my social links in the video description below. And one final thought, I have my own Mr. Flak server. If you'd like to join the Mr. Flak server, which is not a PvP server, but more a friendly role-player type server, 2 times European, please be sure to click on that. I'll leave all the deets in the video description. Thanks again for watching, boys and girls. Flak out.